If you're thinking about starting a home care agency in Georgia, this video is going to save you a lot of time and probably a few headaches. A lot of people think getting licensed is just filling out a couple forms and paying a fee. It's actually a little more involved than that. There are several things that you need to have in place before the state will issue your license, and missing even one can slow the whole process down. So today I'm going to walk you through exactly what you need to do, what it'll cost, how long it usually takes, and a few mistakes I see agency owners make all the time. Let's jump in. First things first, before we even talk about the application, there's one thing that confuses almost everybody. When people search, how do I get a home care license in Georgia? There are actually two different licenses. One is for the private home care provider, or PHCP. The other is for a home health agency, which is a separate licensing category that's generally used for a more clinical and skilled home health services. Today, we're talking about the private home care provider license, the one that most people need when they're starting a home care agency that provides companion, personal care, or, if approved, nursing services in the home. So, if that's what you're planning to do, you're in the right place. Get your business set up first. One mistake I see people make is getting excited and trying to fill out the state application before they've actually set up their business. Before you apply, get the basic business pieces in place. Choose your business structure and register it with the Georgia Secretary of State if your business structure requires it. Get an EIN, or Employer Identification Number, from the IRS. Think of it as your business's tax ID. It's used for banking, payroll, taxes, and many business documents. You'll also want to obtain your local, city, or county business license and any documentation your local government requires. The state application asks for this business information, so it's much easier if you already have it all put together before you start the licensing process. Now you need to decide what services you're actually offering. Next, think about what your agency is actually going to do. Georgia licenses agencies by service category. You can provide companion or sitter services, personal care services, and nursing services. Don't just check every box because it sounds good. Think about the type of agency you actually want to build, because that will affect your staffing, your costs, and how your business operates. Now, let's talk about money. This is usually everyone's next question. Right now, the state charges a $300 application processing fee. Then there's a $250 annual license fee for each service category you apply for. So, if you're applying for all three service categories, that's $1,050 in state application and initial licensing fees before you even get into your startup costs. But here's the important part. Those are just the state licensing fees. You'll also need to budget for things like insurance, background checks, policies and procedures, payroll, office expenses, marketing, software, a registered nurse to meet Georgia's supervisory requirements. So don't make the mistake of thinking you can start an agency with only a few $100s, because that's just what the application costs. Now, don't wait on your background checks. Another thing you can start early is fingerprinting. Georgia's application checklist requires fingerprinting for agency administrators, managers, and owners. You'll need a satisfactory determination letter from DCH, and it has to be current when you apply. It's one of those things that's easy to get out of the way early, and waiting until the last minute can delay your application. Now you need to pick your administrator. Every agency needs an administrator who's responsible for the day-to-day operation of the business. Georgia requires documentation showing who that administrator is, along with their qualifications, job description, orientation, and their other required information. So for many small agencies, the owner is also the administrator, as long as the agency properly documents that role and the person meets Georgia requirements. Now, you can't just open it with just yourself. Here's another requirement that catches a lot of new agency owners off guard. Georgia requires your agency to have a registered nurse to serve in a supervisory role, even if you're planning to operate as a non-medical home care agency. So, as long as you're planning your startup budget and hiring strategy, don't just think about caregivers, make sure you're also planning for the required RN supervision. It may seem like a lot up front, but having the right team in place from the beginning will make the licensing process so much smoother and can help you start serving clients with confidence. Now you need to get your policies together. This is usually one of the biggest projects in the entire licensing process. Georgia expects you to have your required policies and procedures developed before you open, and they need to be available if the department asks to review them. You'll also sign an affidavit confirming that you've established the policies required under Georgia's PHCP rules. These policies cover things like services, client records, employee records, hiring, training, complaints, supervision, documentation, and quality improvement. So, even if you're not uploading the entire policy manual with your initial application, this is not something you want to put off until after you're licensed. Then you're going to submit your application. Once everything is ready, you'll complete your PHCP application electronically through GAMIS. You'll upload your required documents, pay the applicable fees, and receive a license tracking number, or LTN. Save that number because you'll use it to check in on your application. Before you hit submit, double check everything. Missing paperwork or inaccurate information is one of the biggest reasons applications take longer than expected. So how long does it take? Everybody wants to know how fast they can open. Georgia says that the typical review process is about 60 to 90 days after you receive confirmation that your application has been received. But that's not a guarantee that every application will be approved in exactly 60 days. If documents are missing or the department needs additional information, the process can take longer. So give yourself some extra breathing room and don't schedule your grand opening around an exact date. Before we wrap up, the biggest mistake I see is thinking that getting your PHCP license automatically means that you can bill Georgia Medicaid. It does not. Your state license and Medicaid provider enrollment are separate processes. And if you plan to serve Medicaid clients, there are additional enrollment and contracting steps after licensing. Getting licensed is a huge milestone, but it's really just the beginning. Next comes hiring caregivers, scheduling visits, keeping up with EVV, documentation, payroll, and billing. And that's exactly what GEO was built to help with. So if you're getting ready to launch your agency, we'd love to show you how GEO can help make those next steps a whole lot easier. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.